Now, I sincerely hope that you will watch the entire video and stay all the way until the end before you make a judgment on me and bash me and try to murder me. So this is my honest opinion. Feminism in China and in the West has gone completely out of control. And if the current trend keeps up today, it will lead to the destruction of our society and life as we know it. I know this sounds extreme, but let me break this down point by point. I'm not trying to be the Chinese Andrew Tate. I'm trying to be reasonable, and this is my 100% honest opinion. So let's get started. I agree 100%. Women in general were oppressed throughout every part of the world for most of mankind's history. So I was born in mainland China, in the northeast, and it is rooted in China's 5,000-year-long history that the most important thing a woman can do is giving birth to its son, which I think is absolutely outrageous. Just one of the crazy things about China, I guess. Things have gotten better in recent years. I think people are finally waking up to it and say that this is just ridiculous. For society to be balanced, for every man out there has to be a woman, or there's going to be some huge implications. So as a direct result of this, tens of millions of baby girls, I would say upwards of 50 to even 60 million, were lost to a gender-selective abortion. At the peak, Chinese men outnumbered Chinese women by over 40 million. And obviously this has had profound consequences. There's no way to get an actual number. I would say over 50% of Chinese millennial and Gen Z men will never had a chance to date or get married. Obviously the gap is not that great. Maybe it's 15 to 20% more men for who were born during this era. But the number one issue is the rise of feminism and women blasting men for their insane tradition of everybody wanting to have a son. And women's standard in China has gone through the roof. And because of this, there are so many leftover women in China as well. So let's go through some of these points. If you want to enter a serious relationship or go into marriage, I can guarantee you this, 90% of these girls will require these. Height of at least 180 centimeters. In China they use metric, not imperial, so 180 centimeters is almost 5'11", so which means over 80% of Chinese men are out right away. If you're 5'3", 5'4", if you're in that range, forget about dating. You're going to die alone. I'm sorry, it's the sad truth. You must have a house or a condo slash apartment. That's more common in China. The condo cannot have a mortgage, has to be paid off 100%. You have to have a car, cannot be a second hand, cannot be too basic like a Prius, has to at least be, let's say, a Honda Accord or something better. Some girls might require a Mercedes and BMW. It has to be paid for in cash, it cannot be financed. You're expected to spend 3 months worth of salary on your wedding ring and the jewelry that you're going to give them. Most ridiculous one out of all of these. So the home, the car, your bank account, and all your income, it's all controlled on the woman's side. They will have control of 100% of your finances, and they will give you a budget on how much you can spend your own money. The list goes on and on and on, and these are all real. This is why number of the men looking to enter a relationship in China and marriage has declined so much. And there's so many leftover women as a result of this as well, because it's just simply impossible for most men. Unless you have some serious financial aid from your parents, most men will have no chance in today's world. As a direct result, many men will simply give up on dating. Major contributor to China's current 1.06, yes, that's China's current fertility rate. It is probably the lowest in the world, doesn't get much lower than that. The replacement rate is 2.11 children per family. Divorce rate is through the roof. Just 10 years ago it was around 25%. If you go back 20 years it was less than 10%. Now it's over 50%. And I believe the number one cause is because very few people actually marry for love anymore. It's all about the dollar sign. I'm not saying that the true love is dead, but it's on a major decline. As a result of this, streaming by young girls in China turned into an epidemic. It is everywhere. You see it at parks, and you have sometimes you can walk into a factory, you'll see thousands of girls that will go there in the evening to go live stream. My sister and some of my cousins all tried it at some point. And it's a fast way to make money, and some of them can easily make a few thousand US dollars a month. This is basically China's PG-13 version of OnlyFans. I have seen so many Chinese girls go from 0 to millions of followers in less than a month, and some of these girls who are popular they can make millions or even tens of millions of US dollars per year. It's turning to a permanent profession for millions of Chinese girls. The saddest part is that they would rather be doing this versus going out there and actually talk to men and have a real relationship. Key takeaway from China. A Chinese girl that's average or above can simply live stream for 1 hour a day, maybe 5 days a week. And if they do that, let's say for 8 or 10 years, they will be set for life. No man in China can do this. There are no male streamers. That's female privilege right there. For example, if you look at the West, Mr. Beast, he's widely known as the most successful YouTuber of all time. Even after 4.5 years of grinding away in his early YouTube days, he only had 30,000 followers. That's a normal path for a guy. A pretty girl can just stream and get 10 million fans in a year, working 5 to 6 hours a week. Retirement age for men in China is between 60 to 65. For women it's 55, even though on average women in China live 5 years longer. That's female privilege. Let's look at the West. Being 100% honest here, I have never even been on a date in 30 years, and this is becoming the new normal. Fewer and fewer men are looking to enter relationships, and very few are having sex. It is reported that as of 2023, between 30 to 33% of men in the US between age of 18 to 30 are not having sex at all in the past 12 months. This number was roughly 10 to 15% in the 80s. Your parents and grandparents, they had way more dog in them than you do today. Things were just simpler back in the day. I believe the number one cause is the overusage of feminism and the Me Too movement. Yes, the internet and social media does play a part, but I believe these are side factors and contributors. I think feminism has gotten so bad that it's completely destroyed the dating and love culture. Let's go back to 70s and 80s, early days of the feminist movement. Women had more traditional roles, and because of this, they're way less likely to be educated. So the original feminist movement from this era, which I fully support 100%, is aimed at giving women equal opportunity in the workforce and in the field of education. It's changed our society forever. So on average, women will hit puberty before men. This is science. I'm not stating any conspiracy. And because they hit puberty on average 6 to 12 months before men, this stimulates growth in the prefrontal cortex of your brain. This part of your brain helps you make important life decisions. And as a result of this, women are generally better at making life decisions versus men. And this is part of the reason why that women will likely live longer on average in almost every single part of the world. And in almost every university in the West, women outnumber men, especially when you get into the upper years, when you get to become a junior or senior once you're a grad student. This is because men are way more likely to drop out of school versus women. Basically, to sum it up, the feminist movement worked too well, just like China's one-child policy. I'm sure you guys have seen all over the news about China's shrinking workforce. Roughly 60% of university students today in the West are female today. So, this is the dream, right? This is the heaven for boys. Well, for the most part, no. So according to most surveys conducted at random throughout the years, right, for women in general, they only find 20% of guys to be attractive just by looking at their photo. So men found 50% of the random females to be attractive just by looking at their photo. This shows that the women's standards are so much higher than men today on average. And because of this, so many good men are being ignored without women even giving them a chance. This means that the top select few men that's so badly wanted by all of these girls, they turn into boys. They enter short-term flings and non-serious relationships, and they're more likely to be unfaithful because they know they have so many options. This is very bad for both sides. This kind of toxic relationships often leave young girls traumatized, and they start to hate men even more, creating a greater divide. Meanwhile, most guys can't even get girls to talk to them. It's just like the animal kingdom. For example, alpha male bison can mate with up to 100 female bisons in their lifetime. Well, most bisons, that's not the alpha, that's not as strong as muscular, they will never even get laid. For those people who say that men today have a lot of options because of the internet, because of social media, that's actually false, because it's estimated that this is across all the dating sites. For example, you have Hinge, you have Bumble, you have Tinder, and all of these. So 75% of dating apps users are actually men. So there's only 25% women. And obviously you know what that means. So for a man that's say average height, nothing special, let's say most women will rate them a 4 or a 5, that doesn't make a lot of money, right? So you only have a 0.6% chance of actually matching with somebody. And most of the girls, when they do find a match, would just simply swipe away. It is worse for Asian men. I'm not trying to play a victim card, but a lot of Asian girls don't even like Asian men. Asian girls are the most likely to enter interracial relationships. Most of them will marry a white man, sometimes they will marry a black man, sometimes they will marry a Hispanic or Indian. But that's just the sad truth. It's a rough world for an Asian guy. And they are charged more on dating sites as well for just being Asian. And it is very concerning that today over 50% of relationships will start online. 10 years ago it was between 20 to 25%. For all the feminists out there saying that men make more money, I can make so many more points on this, but I'll keep this brief. Men make more money because on average, they work in more high-risk professions and they work more hours. That's just the truth. That's not sexist. So, for example, in the US, on average, men will work 44 hours a week, while women work 41. Nearly all high-risk jobs involves over 90% men. For example, underwater welding, high-rise construction, military, people that restore hydropower lines, police, firefighter, paramedics. The list goes on and on and on. And this is not a privilege. Some works are just more physical and they require a higher muscle mass. If the employer offers $200,000 a year, let's say, to clean the New York City sewers, would a young girl sign up? I doubt it. Almost everybody that signs up for the job will be men. Okay, so if women want more equality, where are the Ukrainian women right now? I'm just wondering, where are they? Do you think they're in the Donbass region? Maybe in Crimea, trying to gain it back from the Russians? No, because of their female privilege. The same thing will happen in Taiwan if China invades. All of the women will be the first to leave the island, and the Taiwanese men will be there to face the Chinese missiles head-on. When the diarrhea hits the air conditioner, the feminists, they're the first to bail. Privilege is invisible to those who have it. A breakup is just as bad for both sides. A girl can cry and post videos on TikTok about how terrible their experience was, on how much they hate men, and she can get millions and millions of likes and supports from everybody in society. If the man did the same thing, the internet will blast him to shreds. He could even lose his job for being a misogynist. Nobody gives a shit about how men feel. In China and the US, there's a higher percentage of single women-only homes versus single men. Do you know why that is? There's something called divorce. It is normal in China for a man to lose everything in divorce court. As I mentioned before, because of the requirements, they have to have a house, they have to have a car, but everything is controlled by the woman, so it's all under their name. It is not a shared house, it's not a shared car, it's not a shared bank account. And because of this, many will commit suicide shortly after the divorce. The worst part? Black American men, they make up 6% of the US population, but they are responsible for over 50% of the murders. Yes, over 50% of the murders in the US have a black male perpetrator. Nobody wants to say it, I'm just stating the facts. So many black families are broken in pieces in the US today. 72% of black children are born into wedlock, into single black mothers. Up to 75% of black families only have a single mother to raise them. Many children are brought up in their family without a father figure. Growing up without a father figure has grave consequences. I grew up without either due to insane family drama. I mentioned before there's been over 20 divorces in my family. Now look at this, 71% of black children today will drop out of school before they turn 18. Now let's make a connection. I don't care where you are, anywhere in the world. Having money is riz. That's guaranteed 100%. Why do you think those 18 to 25 year olds are with Leonardo DiCaprio? The less money you have, the less chance you have of getting a girlfriend. The earlier you drop out of school, the less money you will make. Don't mention Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates. Yes, they did drop out of school, but they dropped out of Harvard. This directly translates to crime. Black people on average have the lowest income. Black men are more likely to commit violent crimes. But this can be any man of any race that's being constantly rejected by women and by society because they're deemed to be not good enough by women. And it doesn't matter how hard they try or how much effort, how much money they put in to police them, they're never good enough. The longer this toxic feminism culture keeps up, where women are constantly blasting men in society, saying that they're ugly and they're not good enough, they're not tall enough, they don't make enough money, I want them to have this, I want them to have that. The more depressed and more desperate there will be. This will lead to a dramatic rise in violent crimes and mass shootings at schools in public areas. Have you seen the movie The Joker? You have a bad day and another bad day and another bad day, and you get to your breaking point, where one day all hell just breaks loose. So, ladies, please, there are good men out there. I will say maybe 10% of men are truly good men. They value a good relationship and family above all. Another 10% are no good thugs, right? But I would say 80% of men are in between, depending on how women treats them. If you believe in them and encourage them on and support their goals and their dreams, any average man can turn into the next Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk or Bill Gates, knowing that the woman of their dreams will always stay by their side and support them no matter what. With the feminism and Me Too movement, so many men are so afraid to even approach and talk to women anymore, because anything can be turned into a lawsuit or sexual assault. Toxic women like Amber Heard have ruined the reputation of many great women around the world. If you're in your 30s and 40s and if you're wondering, it's been so long since I've been in relationships and guys really talk to me anymore, it's because we're so scared of what society has done to men, how much they have demonized us and blame everything on men. Most men still want a serious relationship and start a family. Don't be afraid to make the first move. Don't let the good guys in your life slip away from you. Because if the current trend continues, by the year of 2100, there will be 6 to 8 times as many seniors in the West versus the year of 2000. Because the dating culture, it's dying away. So many lonely and depressed men will commit suicide, they will overdose on fentanyl, they will violently assault women as an act of revenge. Many of them will turn into mass shooters, walking into schools and killing children. That's where our society will become. The more violent, depressed men there are, the more women will stay away from men. You see where this is going, right? It will turn into an endless cycle of hatred and nightmare that's going to completely destroy the Western society. But this can all be changed. For all the young girls out there, you have so much power to change the future by how you treat men, for the better or for the worse. That's all up to you. Final message. So my favorite TV show is Friends, and I want to bring up a scene from Season 7, Episode 2. This show has gotten me through my darkest times. I have seen every episode at least 10 times. So Season 7, Episode 2, Monica's planning her wedding with Chandler. Monica doesn't have enough money because her parents are so favored, everything's focused on Ross. And Chandler revealed to her that he had money saved up. So she wants Chandler to spend all of his savings over the past 6 years for her dream wedding. Chandler agrees to this after a short argument. And he replied that, so what? We only have 2 kids instead of 4. Originally I wanted to have 4. I wanted a boy first, then twin girls and another boy. Now we only have 2. We spend all our money on the dream wedding for you, and we pick our favorite kid, and that one gets to go to college. Imagine that we will have a small place outside of the city where our kids could learn how to ride their bikes. We will have a cat with its bell on the collar, so we will hear it every time it ran through the little kitty door. And of course, we will have an apartment over the garage where Joey, one of their best friends, could grow old. After hearing all of that, Monica replied, "You know what? I don't want the perfect wedding. I want everything you just said to me. I want a marriage. That's what life is about." So many people today are way too focused on the financial assets and the dream wedding. Most are forgetting that marriage is a lifetime commitment of the next 50, 60, 70, 80 years. I believe that true love is not dead. Let's work together to make the future a place filled with kindness and with love. Thank you guys so much for staying all the way until the end and watching the entire video. So, it is only 1 month before I go to Taiwan and Thailand. I will have lots of exciting topics to discuss during my road trip. Thank you guys so much.